Hello guys and girls out there, this is Wager Detective. It is May 13th, 2026. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Wager Detective Report audio. Follow Wager Detective on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and set alerts on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, and be sure to follow the Wise Guys Gambling Syndicate, the community, on my page. I want to grow that up. I only got 16 people that have joined so far, but feel free to join in that community room, the Wise Guys Gambling Syndicate, on Twitter under the Wager Detective handle. Okay, so let's get into this cap. We're going to look at this Angels versus the Guardians game, and the Angels are looking to get swept here on the road. And as the cap goes on, you're going to hear some really great stats and trends, and I have a pretty strong read on this game. So let's get into this cap. The Angels are 16-27 on the year. They're 4-6 in their last 10, 8-17 in road games this year, 2-9 versus the AL Central, and 4-7 in one-run games. The Angels this year, they're 4-5 in day road games, 6 over, 2 under, 1 push, averaging 5.66 runs per game to 6.11 runs per game average in those games. The Angels have given up 7+ runs 4 times in these 9 road day games. Last 7 day games at Cleveland for the Angels, they are 0-5. They're scoring 2.8 runs per game to 5 runs per game for Cleveland in the Angels' last 5 road day games at Cleveland. Scoring 14 runs to 24, again, comes out to 2.8 to 5 runs per game average. Right now, between those two first things in the cap, we're looking at an over. I know it's 7 that they have up there today, and I do believe that could be just because the wind. People are seeing 17-mile-per-hour winds from left to right, so it doesn't necessarily mean that the game's not going to go over, right? You do have a switch hitter in Ramirez in that lineup who hits better from the left side of the plate against right-handed pitching than he does from the right side of the plate from left-handers, so keep that in mind. So as we get into the cap, the Angels are 1-4 last 5 overall, averaging 2 over, 2 under, and 1 push in those games. Angels, their last 5 are averaging 2.2 runs per game to 5.4 runs per game. That comes out to 7.6. On the mound, another thing about the Angels, the last game of a road trip, then having a day off and then back home, they are 1-6 in their last 7 in those games. So again, you're looking at a team that's going on the last game of a road trip, having a day off, and then going back home. The Angels are 1-6 in the last 7 of that situation for those games. 4 over, 3 under, that number 7. They're scoring 3.57 to 6 runs per game for their opponent in that setting, in that situation. Comes out to 9.57 runs per game average in those games. If we look at who's going to be on the mound, Reed Detmers is going to be on the mound. The Angels are 2-3 in his last 5 outings, 2 over, 1 under, and 2 push in those games. He does have 28 innings pitched, 25 hits, 13 earned runs, 9 bases on balls, 30 K, and 2 home runs in his last 5 outings. That comes to a 4.17 ERA, 1.21 WHIP, 9.64 Ks per 9, and almost a home run a game in 0.64 home runs per game per 9 in those last 5 outings for Reed Detmers. Now, if we look at Detmers on 4 days rest, his last 5 on 4 days rest, the Angels are 0-5 in those games. And if we look at the over-under, it is 4 over, 1 under in Reed Detmers' last 5 games on 4 days rest. So the Angels 0-5 in that situation, and it's been 4 over, 1 under. If we look at his innings pitched, he does have 23.1 innings pitched, 35 hits, 26 earned runs, and 12 bases on balls in his last 5 games on 4 days rest. That's a 10+ ERA, 2.01 WHIP, and he's given up 2.31 home runs per 9 in his last 5 outings on 4 days rest. You can see why a case is being built for the Guardians in this game. Now the Angels are facing being swept. Now if I went back, and the Angels being swept on the road They are 2-7 in their last 9 on the road. So when the Angels have lost the first 2 games of a series and looking to be swept, they are 2-7 in their last 9 road series when faced being swept. 5 over, 2 under, and 2 push in those 7 games. The Angels are scoring 4.33 runs per game to 6.22 for their opponent. That comes out to over 10 runs per game in those games where the Angels last 9 are looking to be swept on the road. They're scoring 39 runs to 56, and again, that's 4.33 runs per game to 6.22 runs per game for their opponents. You can see why Wager Detective is kind of building a case for the Guardians, and we're going to get into the Guardians right now. The Guardians are 12-9 in home games this year. They're 7-5 in the month of May this year, 4-6 in one-run games, and they're 7-5 against the American League West. The Guardians are 5-5 in their last 10 games, and they do have a record of 23-21. Okay, home day games for the Guardians this year, they're 6-3, 4 over, 5 under to that number 7 that is set by the books today. Average score 4.11 for the Guardians to 2.44 for their opponents. That comes out to 6.55 runs per game in those 9 home day games for the Guardians. Now, if we look at the Guardians' last 9 games overall, they are 5-4, 6 over, 3 under. They're scoring 4.11 runs per game to 3.55 runs per game for their opponent, which comes out to 7.66 runs per game average. So if we look at the average of the Guardians over their last 9 and their home day games this year, we're adding up to 6.55 in the home day games, and we're adding in the 7.66 last 9 overall. If you add those together, divide by 2, it is landing at 7.1 runs per game average in those games. The line set at 7. I'm already building a case for the over for the other metrics that we mentioned already by the Angels in this cap. I'd rather, if it's a game set at 7 and it has a chance to go over, if it lands on 7, you're not going to lose, but this game could get out of hand early from the cap we've seen from what the Angels do and who's on the mound. Now, if we look at the Guardians in a situation where they have a day off, if they're having a home stand and then they have a day off and then continuing the road stand, let me rephrase that. I'm sorry, I'm getting better at this. When the Guardians have a homestand and then are looking at a day off tomorrow, which they do have, and then resuming the homestand, they are 5-2 in their last 7. Now, if you're going to go back through their history, you might see some games in their series where they have 2 games at home and then they went on a road trip. This is only for where they have a minimum of 3 games at home and then have a day off next and then continue their homestand with a day off in between. So under those settings, they are 5-2 in their last 7. They're scoring 4.57 runs per game to 3.42 for their opponents. That is 3 over and 2 under and 2 push in those games. That comes out to 7.99 runs per game in those games, which is also leading to an over right now, and also leading to the Guardians in that situation 5-2, 5-4 in their last 9, and 6-3 in their home day games. So it's looking good for the Guardians. Now, if we look at who's on the mound for the Guardians, Parker Messick is going to be on the mound. He is the Angels are 4-3 this year when Messick starts. So the Angels are 4-3 when Messick starts. The Guardians. Come on, man. The Guardians are 4-3 this year when Messick starts. 3.14 runs per game to 2.42. That brings it back down to a 5.56 if you look in those games. So Guardians 4-3 this year with Messick on the mound, 3.14 runs per game to 2.42 for their opponent, 5.56. Now, if we isolate it to his last 5 outings, the Guardians are 3-2, 3 over, 2 under. They're scoring 4.2 runs per game to 4.2 runs per game for their opponents, which comes out to 8.4. Now, if we add the 8.4 and the 5.56 for the 7 overall outings and his last 5, we combine that, divided by 2, it does come out to 6.98 runs per game between those two metrics, okay? So in Messic's last 5 outings, he's pitched 29.1 innings, 24 hits, 11 earned runs, 6 bases on balls, and 35 Ks with 3 home runs given up. If we look at that, did we do the math on that? Oh, I didn't do the math. We're going to do the math real quick on that. Okay. This will give me a chance to give you a little tutelage on this. Okay, so 29 innings pitched. He's given up 11 earned runs. So we're going to times the 11 times 9 equals 99 divided by 29.3, which is 29.1 innings pitched. He's got a 3.37 ERA over his last 5 outings for Parker Messick. And if we want to look at his whip, he's got 24 hits. So 24 plus 6 bases on ball, that's 30 divided by 29.3, which is 29.1 innings pitched. He's got a 1.02 whip, okay, in his last 5 outings. And if we want to look at Ks, he's got 35 Ks times 9 innings in a game, 315 divided by 29.3. He's averaging 10.7 Ks per 9, as I write this down, over his last 5 outings. So Parker Messick last 5, the Guardians are 3-2 in those games, and Messick has a 3.37 ERA, 1.02 WHIP, and a 10.7 Ks per 9 in his last 5 outings. The wins did come against the Twins, Astros, and Baltimore, and the losses came against the Athletics and Tampa Bay. So he is getting wins against teams that are better than the Angels. Minnesota, I would say Houston's got a better lineup than the Angels. And Baltimore, I think before the year's out, you're going to see that team has a lineup that's better than the Angels as well, even though they got Trout. I'm not a fan of Soler. Adele, them guys just swinging pitches out of the zone. Neto, low-key decent. Moncado, senior's better days with the White Sox. I'm not really impressed with the Angels lineup. So Messick doing good against teams. The Guardians are garnering wins against better teams. The losses against the Athletics and Tampa Bay. Athletics, but I do think the Athletics have a better lineup than the Angels as well. And if you look at Tampa Bay, we know what they're doing, one of the hottest teams in baseball. If we look at Parker Messick on 4 days rest this year, or in his career, he's only started 3 games in his career on 4 days rest. The Guardians are 3-0 in those games this year, winning 8-5, 4-2, and 6-4. So that's 2 over, 1 under, and even the under got close there, landing on 6. If we look at his career games on 4 days rest, Parker Messick, 13 innings pitched. Oh no, excuse me. Parker Messick on 4 days rest in his career, 18.2 innings pitched, 15 hits, 6 earned runs, 4 bases on balls, 20 K, and 0 home runs. We worked out the math there. 2.90 ERA, 1.02 WHIP, and he's striking out 9.67 batters per 9 in his career, which is all this year on 4 days rest. So looking pretty good for Parker Messick. If we look at the cap, guys, here at the 13-minute mark, Wager Detective is going to have to lean. He's going to have to lean. I'm sorry about this. I hate to give you a chalk play to start off the day, but if we sum it all up and see what's going on here, minus 156 for the Guardians. If we look at everything that we've added up that leads me to this, we look at the last game of a road trip for the Angels. Before having a day off, going back home, they're 1-6 in that situation. If we look at the Angels on the road in a game where they're faced being swept, 2-7 in their last 9. That's not good. And the over is screaming there, 5 over, 2 under, and 2 push in those situations. And the Angels are putting up 4.33 runs per game in that setting, but they're giving up 6.22. If we look at the pitching for the Angels, Detmers is just on 4 days rest, his last 5, The Angels are 0-5. He has a 10-plus ERA, 2.01 WHIP, and a 2.31 home runs per 9 on 4 days rest in his last 5 outings for Reed Detmers. And he's 2-3 in his last 5 outings this year. And he's got a 4.17 ERA, 1.21 WHIP. He does have pretty good Ks, 9.64 Ks per 9. Not giving up home runs in that setting, but overall, I mean, you look at, like I said, the Angels, 8-17 on the road, 4-7 in one-run games. If it gets close, it's sticky. The Guardians are going to have the last at bat. I don't trust their bullpen, so Wager Detective is going to call the Guardians money line, okay, minus 156, and we're going to take a shot with that over there, over 7, minus 105. So that's Wager Detective's call here. The Guardians money line minus 156 and the over 7 minus 105. Worst case scenario, you get a push. I think it gets there. I think it goes over. I would say with the wind blowing, it is kind of tough, but I'm not gonna play onto that because it's not blowing in. It's just blowing left to right. If a ball gets up and it has good exit velocity and it's out of the infield, you could see a ball, head out to right field today. Maybe not to right-handed batters, but to left-handed batters. And if we did see here, we do have some left-handed batters that are in that lineup for the Guardians. Switch hitters at the top. They could turn around, and their first 3 hitters are going to be batting. Oh no, we got Detmers is on the mound, so I can see where the under is a play here because Detmers, I didn't factor that in with this cap. I want to take a look at something real quick here. Did I bring it up? Ooh, let's bring it up here. Let's go to this. Let's go to this. And let's go to this. I want to see, because this could alter the cap here. This could alter the cap. Let's see here. Okay. If we're looking at, let's isolate this here because I want to get into this just real quick. The Angels. Oh, yeah. And the Guardians. Add this to the cap, too. The Guardians are 10-3 against left-handed pitching this year. So I'm sticking with that. The Guardians are the stronger play here by quite a bit. Wager Detective going to call the Guardians money line minus 156. I'd sprinkle that over 7. Again, as you can see here on the screen, it is saying 62 degrees, winds 17 miles per hour, left to right, 9% precipitation in the air. That does seem run suppressing to me. So the final answer will be Wager Detective calling the Guardians money line. Sprinkle the over. This is Wager Detective, and I love all my fans. I'll talk to you soon.